Okay, great. Good evening and welcome to the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee meeting of Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Happy New Year all. Wanted to thank you all for tuning in and thank all the members for carving out some time to join in. We are, let's see, we're here on our monthly meeting. All of our meetings are taped by Norwood Community Media. Thank you, NCM. And we do take minutes, and the agenda are posted on the town website. We can be reached and we enjoy feedback if you email us at trails@norwoodma.gov, norwoodma.gov. We do get together. We have amended our schedule at the beginning of 2021, and we are meeting by Zoom. I'm sorry, GoToMeeting. It's GoToMeeting. We're meeting by GoToMeeting once per month, and we're also fully intend to go out on the beating the Dusty Trail one other weekend during the month. So that'll be the topic of conversation tonight, is just to confirm the date and the location of our next walk at the end of January. By way of I'm going to go around the table here, as it were, and I'll ask you all to weigh in and just voice your presence. And I will ask you all if when you're not speaking, we are getting some feedback tonight. So a different kind of feedback that we don't really like. So if you could, when you're not speaking or about to speak, if you could just mute your devices, that would be appreciated. And thank you all for coming. Brian Palmetier.
Brian Palmetier here.
Present. Vic Babel.
You're on mute.
Vic, I am going to circle back to Vic. Lee Leach.
Yes, I'm here. I'm caller one.
Okay, thank you. Vic Babel.
Here.
Thank you. Marguerite Krupp.
Here.
That was the I'm here wave. Thanks, Marguerite. Welcome. Patty Austin.
Here.
Craig Austin.
Present.
Kate Smith.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Joe Greeley, and I am present. Roy Nopel will be right back, I believe. So we do have as is always the case, we've got an action-packed agenda tonight. And
Hey, Joe, Joe, excuse me, I joined the meeting. It's Marcia. I don't know if you have me as a caller.
Oh, okay. Caller, maybe. Thanks, Marcia.
Yep.
Welcome. So I will ask Lee to present some minutes for us.
Okay, yes, you should have received, Joe should have sent out the minutes from November 10th. I have Joe, Lee, Craig, Patty, Brian, Jerry Miller, who's not logged in yet, Marguerite, Roy, Vic, Kate on the attendees. And I just wanted to say, I think I have one correction I need to make, and that's maybe attendances is not accurate, but I don't know if anybody else saw that. Any other comments?
Now, Joe, the email that I got has the attachment I had was the upcoming schedule and the agenda for tonight's meeting, but I didn't have minutes attached to mine.
Okay, just bear with me one second.
Would have been January 11th at 9:56 a.m.
I'm going to try to go into my mail
Brian,
a different way.
Yeah, Brian, it is an attachment on that same email with the agenda.
Okay. I'm going to go in a different way then. sometimes when I do it through mail versus Yahoo Mail, I get different attachments. So.
Okay.
Let's see. Yep, I see it there. It is accessible. So just didn't have a chance to look at it.
Okay, all right, great. So you can duly vote as in that fashion if you're so inclined. Okay, anyone have, Lee had mentioned one adjustment to the one edit to those. Anyone else have any comments, or I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes?
So move.
Okay, thanks, Marguerite. Motion to accept the minutes of December 15th. Do I have a second? Do we have a second?
I can second. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks. All right. All those in favor of accepting those, please say aye. I'm going to go around the room here. Vic Table?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Brian Palmetier?
Abstain since I didn't get a chance to read it. Sorry.
Okay, good. Lee Leach?
Aye.
Aye. Marguerite Krupp?
Aye.
Roy Nopel?
Aye.
Patty Austin? Aye. Greg Austin? Kate?
Aye.
Aye, good, thank you, and the chair votes aye. Marcia Mata?
Aye.
Thanks, Marcia. So we did, by my reckoning, we have 9 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. So those minutes are passed, and as is always the case, we do post our minutes on the town website. You'll find the minutes and the agenda there. Visitors, we don't have any. We don't have any visitors currently. I did get an email today. Received an email today at the Trails website, our Trails email address, I should say, from trying to find her name. Christina Grande, it looks like Grande. So Christina sent us an email today, and she has joined the rec department as a event coordinator, I believe, and she's actually starting a hiking club associated with the rec department. So more to follow on that, but we're excited at that possibility. So, she could be our first visitor for 2021. Let's see what else. Completed walk. So I will ask Lee, do you mind kicking off a discussion about New Year's Day?
New Year's Day, that's item C on the item C.
Can I just interject really quick? Vic, can you hear us? I think the feedback is coming through your phone. If you could mute, that would be really good.
I don't hear anything here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm up on my 3rd floor and there's no sound up here. Why do you think it's me?
Because you had muted before and it stopped, and then as soon as you had unmuted, I don't mean to call you out. I'm so sorry. I just was trying to figure out.
I was found guilty without trial.
The trial was just the muting and unmuting. I'll be quiet now.
Yeah, no, my
I thought it was him
iPad
too.
my iPad is going on it. It mutes itself every now and then. Should I mute myself now?
We
Yeah.
sounds good now, but
It sounds
you know.
fine now.
I mean, there's no sound here at
Okay.
all.
Yeah,
does-
it may be resolved. I apologize.
Okay.
No, that's right.
Well, I
Kate,
had my iPhone beside it. I shut off my iPhone.
It does sound like the speaker is being dragged through the mud or something, but I'm sure it'll be fine now. So thanks, Vic. Thanks, Kate.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll back up and start. So item A in that bullet. So trail reports, news from the trails. Craig has sent me. I'm going to through the wonders of technology. Craig, if you could just give us a walkthrough what you've presented, and in the meantime, I'll share some of your photos.
Okay. We decided to have our own little New Year's Day walk. And we walked from our home to the street entrance of Ellis Pond. So that's the north entrance. And we walked to the pond from at the end of that trail. It was a nice day, mostly cloudy. There were what we saw were two trees down. One of them was by the parking lot, not on the parking lot and not on the trail. So it's a minor fall, but it snapped off at about 20 feet high up in the on its trunk. And so someday DPW can go down and take care of it. The next, there were also some pumpkins that were strewn about. I'm not sure if that was something the town did or somebody decided to dispose of their pumpkins, but they were.
I have to take some responsibility for that.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yes, because I was told, and I liked it, to break open a pumpkin in the, in the wooded areas so that the animals can feed on it instead of throwing them away.
well,
Perfect.
that's
So I
fine.
did it.
No, it's not necessarily bad. I'm not calling it out just because pumpkins are orange. They're quite noticeable.
Yes, and I felt that when I did it, but I still did it.
So we continued down the trail and we found a second tree, and actually somebody had called to us a little time before, not that one, but
This other one.
yeah, keep going down. Yeah, it's still the first tree.
Whoop, this.
And
New home
now,
for someone.
here's
There
the
it
second tree. That
Okay.
would cross the trail to Ellis Pond. It didn't completely block it, but it's as a red maple that looked like it was rotting at the throughout the tree. So it just fell from rot. And again, you can pass around it, but at some point, the DPW should clear it up if they haven't already. It's now been a couple weeks, so they could have dispatched it by now.
Okay.
When we got to the pond, the area is fine. The looks neat, looks clean. There were hawks that we noted up to them, and the pond at that time, now this is New Year's Day, had only a very thin covering of ice. So to me, it should normally be a much more covered than that. So just kind of the natural state of things.
Okay.
But a nice day.
All right, great. I do notice with these 40-degree days, and even though at nighttime it's high 20s, low 30s, that there is not a lot of ice. It certainly wouldn't allow for foot passage over the water. So users of the water should use caution, obviously.
Well, I wouldn't even attempt it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right, great picks. And that's all from New Year's Day.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So we'll make note of that down tree at the Ellis, that the Nickel Street entrance. We'll see if it is still there. We'll see if we can get in touch with the crack DPW team and ask him to take a visit by. So great, thank you. Thanks. Anybody who wants to bring pumpkin bread, see Masha?
No, I think those pumpkins are a little past prime.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments, walks, trips? Marguerite?
Yeah, I did a little walk around out on the ending area, out the Red Trail up to the train track, and then taking a left and going up a little further, and then where it crosses over, just about where that sign is. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they had thrown at least some wood in there that made it possible to cross over the muddy area, and then came back around and down to the back of the field there, and on up out to the parking lot again. It's a very nice little walk, and the weather was great. I was wondering, there's some places where the DPW, I assume, has cut down some of the tree trunks and branches that were obstructing the trail. I was wondering if there would be any objection to harvesting some of that wood that's been taken down. It's about maybe 6 to 8 inches in diameter.
And it's off the trail in the,
It's off
In
the
the
trail.
okay. That's a good question. I know typically they'll just leave the wood there and just
Mhm.
hope for either Mother Nature to take care of it or somebody with a strong back or a wheelbarrow to pull it out. I guess
It's
we'll
not
find
very
out.
long. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not very long. Yeah, I'll do it, and then you can bail me out when they come and get me. But
Mark, Joe?
Yes, Lee?
Oh, this is Lee. I think I got the gist of that, Marguerite. And just one comment regarding any materials on conservation property. You'd have to get permission from conservation, but I doubt they would allow it if it's natural wood. You'd want to let that go ahead and decay in the environment if it's
Okay,
off the
good.
trail.
yeah, thanks for the heads up on that, Lee.
Typically, where there is a void and if there is any guidance from the Concom, we typically take that guidance and consider it a blanket for the town.
Mhm.
You know, I'm
Joe,
sure.
can I
there's no-
mention something?
Yeah, please, Roy.
There was an occasion at Adams Farm where with a few other people, including the chairman of the Adams Farm Committee, used the chainsaw to clear a path or 2 or 3. And, I said, man, if I had a wood burning fireplace, I'd love to take some of this wood. And I was told by multiple people that there was not a problem for that. So I would be happy if anyone was interested to talk further about firewood from Adams Farm offline.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Roy.
Thanks, Roy. And Marguerite, we'll try to get a better indication on well.
I know that there's a theory in forestry that you should leave the wood where it is, so that it nourishes the next generation of trees and so forth. On the other hand, it does present a fire hazard, so if it's possible, I can use it.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else take any walks in the woods lately?
I did Endine a couple days ago, and I was just surprised at how high the water level is still. That lower trail by the ponds there is underwater. The one right off the main drag is mostly underwater, but the condition of the trail was amazingly good for being so wet.
Yeah.
In that problem area, they had, the pallets there, and it was pretty effective. There were wet spots, but it was a good walk.
Good.
Oh, the same idea. We walked around across the little bridge by the dam and started walking down towards where that tilted bench is. And just beyond that, it was quite flooded and gushing into the brook, so that I couldn't really go very far with it. In fact, I had to turn around because it was about 6 inches deep. The amount of water coming through there was amazing.
Yeah.
I've encountered that myself at least 2 or 3 times this year. I don't ever remember being that being the case. So,
Joe, I was over at, this is Marcia. I was over at, behind the Father Mac field today. I've been there a couple times this week, and the only thing I noticed over there that I have seen a few places lately is some dead animals. I don't know if that's something we want DPW to do anything about, because it's not full bodies. I only say it because it does instigate, in my case, when I'm walking with dogs, for them to want to eat it, of which, is not very good for them to eat and then to bring home to the family and throw it up later. So just on the actual soccer field, I saw lots of fur, and it was not a domestic animal, which is good. And I also saw it down the trail heading towards Winter Street.
okay.
Is that an animal control issue? They come out and pick up the dead bodies off of the road.
There wasn't really a body. It was more,
Fragments?
yeah, stuff so that it would kind of need to be raked up, I would say. And he doesn't, from what I know, he doesn't even pick up dead bodies. It's DPW does that too.
Ah.
Just, I mean, it'll blow away over time, but it's just something that I noticed today. Was one area was pretty yucky and could also make kids kind of go, ooh. So.
Yep. Okay. Was there anybody out on the trail, Marcia?
No, there was no one today. I went twice this week, or within the last week. There was one runner today. There was a lot of kids up at the playground up by Father Max because the weather was good. Last week, I probably saw 2 or 3 dog walkers. Not walkers, dog owners with their dogs. But other than that, not a lot of foot traffic. But it looked good. The trail looked good, and yeah, it all looks well kept still.
All right, great. Thank you. Thanks.
I had a question for Craig. You guys said you were out there on the 1st, out at Ellis Pond. And my wife and I were actually out there in the 2nd. Had they put the orange pontoons out by the spillway when you were there?
We were on the other side of the pond. We didn't visit the south side. So I don't recall.
Well, we drove up from the side off of Walpole Street. And
Right.
you know where the dam is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
that's not where you were.
So that's from roughly the high school side, and went down to basically the middle of the northern part of the pond.
Okay. Well, we came in off of, I'm trying to think of where the Ellis Pond sign is, and you can go in to the very edge of where the pathway goes and everything. That's not where you guys were. You guys weren't on that side. You were on the other side.
Yeah, the complete other side.
Okay, got it. Because I was thinking maybe the DPW had gotten out there and cleaned up those trees really quick, between the 1st and the 2nd when we were there. But we're on opposite sides of the pond then. Yeah, so it was nice on our side anyway.
They are magicians.
And we did see a part where there was some thin ice. It seemed to be enough that the geese were climbing up on it. But I don't think I'd want to go out on it myself, so.
No.
And Joe, are they gonna fix that little place going up to the top of the dump? Because that was very slippery. I was up there a couple days ago. You know how there was talk that they were going to put steps there or something so we could get up to the top of the landfill?
Oh, okay, coming up the back through the.
Yeah, it
front
was,
trail.
it was icy and slippery, and
Oh, okay.
You mean Mount Norwood? Is that,
Mount Norwood, that's it.
okay.
Okay. I will make sure that that's on the list for the spring. I think the outcome of that, the outcome of actually the community preservation project that we've submitted, I think if that goes through, then they'll definitely fix that back path. But otherwise, we may have to take matters into our own hands. So, more to follow, but thank you.
Okay.
Lee, I was going to mention the walk that we took with Holly last week, unless you want to do that.
No, go right ahead, Joe. I'm fine with you describing that event.
Okay, just really briefly, Lee and I met with Holly Jones last Friday morning. We met at the Saint Street lot. A couple of reasons. One, Holly has worked on a bid package for designers to put in their bid to do the design for the property, to design some trails and waterfront features down there. So actually, we had a good walk. We walked for about an hour and a half through the property. And we talked about the design and what kind of features they had included in the bid package. We also talked about all the invasive plants that are down there. There's a lot of bittersweet down there, especially. And also, there's an area close to the end of St. Paul Street that was originally used as a parking area. Now there's asphalt remains on in that small area. So we took a look at that and tried to determine the best way to deal with that. Obviously, it's something that we're going to have to deal with as part of the construction process. But overall, we did have a good walk. We had we talked about more than just the Saint Street lot, but it was a very good discussion with Holly, and that relationship continues. And I think it'll only be good. It's definitely a good two-way discussion that we're having. So I think that went well. Holly was interested. Not to ruin the surprise, but one of the possible walks that we're going to propose later on for the end of January is another visit to the University Ave. So more to follow on that, but we did take a good walk. Theoretically, some young folk have started building their own BMX bike path on the Saint Street lot. So it's all of a sudden, probably the middle of December or thereabouts is when it began. But we should hire them. They've been pretty efficient in the past couple of weeks, and there's actually a bike trail out there now. So we did call that to Holly's attention as well. So let's see. Next on I think we're good.
Joe, can I interrupt
yeah,
a minute?
Masha?
With that said, is that something we want to nurture? The bike path? I mean, I personally don't have a problem with it. If I would think it'd be another nice option for some of the teens and kids to use if we can nurture it and maybe have it almost set up a little bit as a potential place for kids to do something like that.
Yeah, this was also the case over at the Willard Parkway. I don't know if they didn't take the 34E, but somehow they've managed to migrate from, I'm sure it wasn't the same young folk theoretically, but they've moved from Willard Parkway. But when they did carve some bike paths in Willard Parkway, and Holly actually met with some of the neighbors, and the determination is that it's okay, and like you said, it's a good way to foster use of the woods and get people out into the Mother Nature, as long as it's controlled and doesn't impact the waterways in any way. And then likewise, we wouldn't want to turn the whole area into bike, kind of bike heaven. We want to have it
Agreed.
a multifunctional, multi-user experience. So it's certainly a great place to do it, and the more the better, as long as it's, as long as one user group respects another user group, I think it would be great. So that'll certainly be part of the discussion going forward.
So Joe,
Yes.
Joe, would this be a parallel path thing, or would there be a BMX trail, for example, be a separate trail from the walking trails?
I think it depends where we're talking. I think if we, the Saint Street lot is pretty small. Right. But I think if we had a bigger geographical area, then we could designate, dedicated paths for BMX versus, no wheels allowed on some other trail. I don't think we have that luxury at the Saint Street because of the size of the property.
Right.
So
and I was wondering to what extent, like, I guess if there's only the occasional BMX kids riding through, it doesn't interfere with hikers. I'm just depends on how populated or how popular it gets. So.
Yeah. Yep.
When you say BMX, do you mean the motor, gas one, or just mountain bikes?
No, just a mountain bike.
I should probably say mountain bike.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to insinuate there's any motor.
Yeah.
I think usually kids, they it's not really on the walking path. So if it was something that we did anywhere, or that they don't want to be on the beaten path. So it's kind of like off the beaten path per se. And I was just kind of insinuating I would hate to discourage it, but I'm not necessarily saying we have to build an entire, bike path per se. But just I'd hate to discourage it and be like, if you're caught on this, you're going to be reprimanded, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. Let's see.
Joe, it's Lee.
Yep. Hey, Lee.
Just one final comment vis-a-vis with our walk with Holly. I think Joe did refer to the fact that there is a design grant that will, and in fact, it may have already been awarded. So the process is in place for the design of the Saint Street slots, and there will definitely be both public opportunity, public input opportunity, as well as other groups like the rec department and the schools, and also the Trails Committee to input during the design process. So, Marcia, that's a good point. I think any use of the potential use is on the table right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Joe, you're on mute.
I had actually muted myself. So next item on the agenda, the meeting frequency. We did with the minutes in the agenda, we did distribute a calendar, at least for the next several months that's lined up with one meeting, one's meeting or Zoom meeting, the second Tuesday of every month. And then we did commit to taking a walk somewhere in town the last week of the month. So we can talk when we get to future plans. We'll talk about possibly the weekend of the 23rd, 24th. More to follow, but we have, by popular demand, we've updated the meeting frequency, so that definitely seems to work. So next item on the agenda, the first day, New Year's Day hike. Lee, do you want to kick that off, if you could?
Okay, sure. I think we had a great turnout for that event. It was at 2 o'clock on New Year's Day afternoon. There were some people that had not joined us previously. There was also several other committee members there. There was a couple people from the Walpole Trails Committee there as well. And also some of our local town administrators were there. So I think it was very well receptive. We ended up having well over 25 participants, but less than 50. I think between Joe and I, we each have our own counts, but I'm a little bit lower than Joe. Joe's a little bit closer to 50. Nonetheless, we did sort of separate into two equal groups, basically, and to keep outdoor social distancing rules in effect. Everybody wore a mask. And I think Fran did have a map that she tracked. Joe, I don't know if you have that available to show the committee or not, though. And with that, I'll just let you talk, Joe.
Fran emailed that to us, didn't she? Did she send?
Yes, she did, Joe.
We got a picture of it.
There it is.
Actually, that's the original. I know she had actually a tracking map off from the new app she's using.
Okay.
The Gaia act.
Joe, can I add to that?
Yeah, sure, please.
I never like to compare, but rather to be helpful in comparison. The Walpole 3 option first day walks, according to our rough number trackers, netted 150 new walkers with $300 total collected to contribute to the Walpole Trails Committee. So interestingly enough, it matches the Norwood first day walk almost exactly, as far as, if Norwood had 3 choices, well, perhaps it would have been equal to the Walpole Trails number. So I just thought I'd, volunteer those numbers.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you, sir. Let's see, actually. So while that was going on, I did find this that, excuse me, that Fran had mapped out for us. You can see, so we started up here at the intersection of Astor and Morgan Drive. Worked our way down through. Fran's got a lot of, can everybody see that? So this is a piece of software that an app that she's got that allows you to embed some photos in the map itself.
It's called GAIA. That's the app, Joe, in case anyone
It's-
wants to try to use it. GAIA.
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 Is it free?
Yes.
I believe it is free, yep.
Can you share
I'm
this
just-
map with us?
Sure, I can email it around to the group.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure. I should have already done that, sorry.
I have this one, which is a different map.
Yep, yep,
And I think this one is the Gaia map is a little more legible.
yes, it is. I took out my Crayola box of 64s to do that first one, Margaret.
Gee, I thought it was your magic marker.
But it was good. We had, so even if the number was 35 to 40, I think we had a good showing. We will try to figure out, I'm not sure if that area, if people had attendees had a better idea of other places to go. We're just excited that people are getting out. So these days with COVID and distancing, et cetera, you just never know who's going to show up. But we're happy to get the turnout that we did.
Was it a
I
good
haven't-
walk, Joe?
Yeah, it
As
was
far
a
as sights and all that, and the wetness, and because Pesser has been very wet.
It was a very good walk. I was surprised. I'd never been there before. And
Yeah, it's
it
nice
was a very
there.
good walk. A lot to see. And even though it was short, it was very nice. It was a good walk.
You could make it much longer too if you go under the power lines.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We did run, we didn't go down that far to the end of Vanderbilt. But we did encounter some water and in the power line field. But you could definitely turn that into a longer walk. You're right, Vic.
It would come out right to you could go right to the canoe launch place.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, we had a good turnout and
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
if you did, you definitely need waders, Vic.
Well,
Most
at
people
this-
didn't have waders.
Yeah, certain times. I mean, the big problem was under the high tension wires. There was, as you get further down toward where the storage places, it gets a little wet there. But I think just some, really easy, rough planks going over there would get us over that little part. And then I know down further, it's pretty wet down there now. But normally, you go in the summer, it's dry, and you can walk all the way to the canoe place without hitting any water.
yeah, that's a good future, a good future walk. Part of this on New Year's Day, because we were where we were going and the fact that we had non-committee members with us, we weren't quite sure how large the group would get. But we actually sent out letters requesting access, approved access onto their properties. So we did get a letter of a very nice response from the Norwood Gardens general manager. So we do appreciate their help and their acceptance of some visitors that are just passing through. But we will have to consider that going forward whenever we do a walk that includes both public and private lands. What else? Roy or Lee, do you want to talk, or anyone else who was at the Walpole first hikes? You guys want to weigh in on that?
Well,
Roy,
I love the Norwood walk. I'll echo the theme of, longer would be great. But then again, during COVID, how can you gauge the quantity of people? And of course, the weather, thankfully, the weather worked out. So I would say, folks that I talked to and listened to along the way did enjoy themselves. It wasn't a fast-paced walk, and I think it appealed to folks of all ages. And me, continuing the walk round trip, just heard very positive feedback. I did not attend any of the Walpole walks, although I did wrap up at Adams Farm out of allegiance, you know. Again, they felt out of 3 walks, they netted 150 new people. And that's on top of at least 100 of the quote regular walkers. So I look forward to a COVID-free walk January 1st, 2021. You know what I mean, 22.
Good point. The interesting thing about Walpole's, and we might want to consider this for our future, but they did something a little bit different that was interesting. They had 3 different walks across town at 3 different properties, but they weren't guided. It was basically just an open house kind of event. And I thought that was interesting. They basically, if you bear with me, but I'll put up a couple of pictures here, but they basically just left the gate open. They put up some signage to just steer people in the right direction. They have some of their maps are on the town website. But basically it was just an open house all day. And I think that's one of the ways that they were able to reach that 400 plus count during the day, which I think is great for them. And certainly great for the users. But they basically left it open 8 to 5 all day long. So
Yeah, that's true.
we might want to consider that next year. Good. All right. Let's see, anything else? I think we're good to go. So, see the next item on the agenda, we do have several table discussions. Kate, do you want to talk about the PTA spreadsheet?
Yeah, and I was actually just looking at, let me pull up one thing. Okay, so we sent around a spreadsheet to see if folks would be willing to give presentations to the local schools. I'm just choosing one school, and then I've provided contact information for the PTA contact person. And you would just connect with that one person and set up a meeting, a time you could go to speak to that PTA. I'm requesting about 15 minutes, probably. You can adjust that time if you feel like you need more or less. And then just coordinating to figure out how they're meeting. Are they meeting in a virtual format? Are they meeting in person? And how is it you could best connect? If it was that you were trying to do it via Google Meets or something as opposed to going in person, I'm not sure what flexibility they might be able to have. So first getting folks to sign up, we have just a couple schools left. So you don't necessarily have to sign up at the moment, but you can email Joe or I. The Callahan, we need somebody to present to the Callahan, the Willett, and then the high school. So those are the last 3. Oh, Joe, great, you have. I was looking at my spreadsheet, so I didn't see that. So if you're interested in doing either of those 3 schools, please just let us know. And again, the whole idea is to present on the trails that are closest to the schools. So not necessarily covering all the trails in the community, but just covering the ones that might be maybe the 2 to 3 that are closest for families in that particular neighborhood. For the high school and the middle school, obviously you might want to cover use your discretion at what trails you might want to cover. And I have an email drafted, so as soon as you sign up, I'll send you all the resources. I've got an outline outline. We redid the presentation. And there's even a summary for the PTO, PTA to send out to their membership. I also have drafted the emails for you to send to the PTO when you are just reaching out. And so I've tried to draft as many of the pieces that would be a hindrance or barrier to connection. So let me know if you have any questions, or let Joe know. And yeah, I think my email circulated in there somewhere.
Kate,
yeah,
have you
this-
already sent that email out? I don't know if this is Marcia. I don't know if I've seen the one that has all the specifics. If
Yeah,
so,
I
I
think-
just missed that.
Yeah, I think Joe sent out something this evening. I had sent something out previous, but I think Joe just
I
forwarded
saw the chart.
everybody.
I saw the
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
so
Is that where it
yeah,
was?
so I can send out I can send the same email out again just to make sure that folks are able to see all the pieces. Or if you're interested in presenting to a school, or you just have questions, you and I can email offline and I can share. That way you don't have to commit until you kind of know.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
No, this is
Kate, I
great.
think
Thank you, Kate.
I think you've done a phenomenal job here putting this thing together. And, you know, I might or might not be interested, but just an intro to it looks very doable.
Yeah, I think the goal again is we came up with this idea around the idea of Joe had presented us the idea of how to connect more people to the trails. That's really the foundation, is just getting information about the trails to people who would really benefit from using them and knowing that they exist as a resource. Like I said, I lived in this town for 6 or 7 years before I even knew that the trails existed. And as soon as I found out about the trails, I joined the committee, just trying to help get more people aware. And I talk about the trails all the time in every conversation with people in town. So it's just trying to get young families involved and to know that they could go on a nature walk basically in their own backyard. And there are plenty of activities and directing people to the trails website to get those resources for the maps and the activities and to go on the trail walks and, you know, just things like that. So the whole goal is just awareness. That's really, if you were interested in making a presentation, it's just sharing what we do. That's all. And that the resources exist in their backyard.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you very much.
I think that the timing is great if we, you know, if we're able to connect with the different schools and maybe get onto their agenda for the month of February. Does that make sense, Kate?
Yeah, I think that's definitely doable. Some of the meetings, there's one group that meets the same Tuesday that we meet. And so I just don't remember which school it is. So we would just have to coordinate for whoever that person was. They might not be able to make it to our meeting, or they might be a few minutes late to this meeting. But otherwise, they all meet at different times. They all meet in different days of the month. So just being aware of that for everybody. And if you sign up for school and that date just doesn't work for you, let me know. Happy to switch it and figure out a different meeting time.
Okay. All right. No, this is great. Thank you very much. Thanks. Let's see, I did speak to Brian Brian a little bit about one of our scouts. We've got a couple of Eagle Scout projects that are in the works. Lee and I spoke last week to Tony Mizuko about the CPA, the Community Preservation Project. So we still don't have final word from Tony, either as a general manager or from the Board of Selectmen, whether they would be in favor of those 3 projects. So the jury is still out. I know Tony is still in fact-finding mode, and they do have 1,001 other things on their plate. So that's still in the works. Masha, I know we talked about pets on the trail, and that's still on the table.
Yeah, Joe, if you, can I just throw out a
Sure.
date? I was thinking of
Sure.
February 6th, which is a Saturday, or rain date, snow date, bad weather date, the 7th.
Okay, sure. I think you just did.
Okay, I
So-
just did, threw it out there.
Okay,
Um,
so,
yeah, I think,
so tell us again, Marcia, what it is we're trying to accomplish? Just for
right,
the
so the
viewing
goal would be
audience?
just like, yeah, so the goal is just like kind of similar to the PTA idea, meaning to expose more people to our trails. And I'm suggesting to expose people with dogs to the trails and or helping those that already do use the trails learn proper trail etiquette with their dog and encouraging, good community behavior of dog owners with people who don't have dogs. I know, for example, Joe, you just mentioned to me this weekend how, someone had commented, not locally, but someone had commented that some people on a trail had their dogs off leash, and though they were nice dogs, the owners didn't think twice about the fact that the dogs ran up to people and jumped on them, and the people were not happy. That's not good pet etiquette. That doesn't do any of us pet owners any good. So kind of educating people on that. But also, I think anyone that goes would be people who I would, encourage to try a new place to walk your dog. So we're not talking about play dates. We're not talking about anything other than what people like to do now is go for a walk with their dog. And instead of just going around their neighborhood, they can go around, and find one of the neighborhood trails. So I had proposed the Father Max going from behind Father Max to Willett and back, not going up the landfill.
Okay, great. Anyone
You know-
else? I know we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. Yep, go ahead, Roy.
I'm guilty of not knowing if that trail or trails designation offers dog baggies, but I wholeheartedly endorse spending money on a kiosk to provide dog baggies because at Adams Farm, we do. And it's really imperative because there are some dog owners that do show up with no dog bags, and from there you can assume what's going to happen. But I
Yeah,
love.
there isn't. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There isn't
Yeah,
anything
and-
there. I personally will be having plenty of bags for this particular walk, and it'll be an opportunity also for me to remind people. It's funny, it sounds simple, but there's a variety of ways to remember your bag, because it's not bad pet owners that sometimes forget, but those that obviously forget all the time are different. But it happens. So I can also give people some suggestions on, the simple thing of tying a bag to your leash, even if you don't have a container that attaches to your leash, just commonly attaching a couple of bags to your leash. So things like that will be important during the walk. And the idea being, again, the people will probably have not gone on the trail before, otherwise they probably wouldn't be interested. So it'll be people that'll be newly exposed to it, but also teaching them etiquette and safety for their pet and safety for the community. And I'm all into the animals, so I would like people to understand the only way the animals are going to be able to coexist with us is for us to do our job as the humans and the owners.
And also disposal of bags, which drives me crazy on the trails.
Right. We don't, I know at Father Max, there are garbage cans. We're lucky. There are places that don't. And that's a tough one because a lot of people don't want to put poop in their car. But again, I can encourage people on how to, double bag and all that kind of stuff if you have to take it with you. Be prepared in your car.
No deposit, no return. Marguerite, did you have something? Want to make?
Only that I found that the neighbors are more than willing to save the bags that the Boston Globe comes in, and then they donate them to me, and I distribute them to people around the neighborhood who need them. But I second the thought that you absolutely have to have a receptacle that's handy. And the thing that drives me really nuts is people do pick it up and then drop the bag someplace.
Right,
You
right.
might as well not bother.
Can I just remind, or not remind, but let you know that in some cases, because I'm guilty of it, but we don't leave it behind. So when I walk a trail, if I know I'm going up far distance, I will pick it up, and occasionally, if I know I'm coming back that same way, I will put my bag on the side and then come back and get it. Reason being, carrying it for the whole walk and also possibly having it spill out. So that is why some people do that. But I hear you, and sometimes I'll pick up other people's just because I'm like, well, if I'm going by again, I'll pick it up on my way back, because people forget. But yeah, some people don't care and just leave it. We'll work
Very
on that.
That's a
Thank you.
good reason to have a session like this. So Marcia, you're talking about February 6th or
Or 7th, depending
snow
on.
slash, if we ever get
Mhm.
snow, or rain day to February 7th.
Yep.
Do you want to do this in the afternoon? Morning, afternoon?
Can I get back to you on that?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, let me think
So
about
we
what's the
would
best
make,
time for most people, for dogs,
okay. So it would make sense for us to maybe post this on Facebook as we approach the date with the
Yeah.
specifics? Okay.
I have a
Great,
question
great.
about whether a non-dog owner could participate. I would love to have a dog, but I don't have a dog. Is this like a community walk that more of us can participate in, or do I need to borrow a dog?
I can give you a dog. No, only kidding. I was going to say that, others are welcome. And I think people who don't like dogs or don't want to be around dogs obviously wouldn't attend. But I think putting in like non-dog owners are welcomed. However, this is, I know, a tour. I mean, maybe, I don't know, somehow stating that there will be dogs. Just
Yeah,
and
definitely.
let people decide. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
wouldn't
just
want it
curious.
too big. I wouldn't want it. The reason I wouldn't want a lot of non-dog owners is most dog walks, when you walk, are usually more of a sniff, not a walk. So it ends up being a lot slower. And some people who want to take a hike and kind of want to enjoy that, would be maybe a little bit like, oh, this is taking forever, because the dogs are going to smell everything along the way.
Yes.
Everybody
Very
has
fair.
to
We can
stop at
note
the
that.
hydrant. It's tough when
Go
there's a
ahead.
queue at the hydrant.
Yeah. Yep.
And this would be a socially distant, canine friendly, masked event. Okay, all right, cool, great. All right, yeah, that'd be great. Give it a whirl. I will be there to help. So. And Kate, I don't have a dog either. So, all right, great. I think we're going to retain it as Marguerite, unless you want to speak to the Route 1 corridor.
Just one thing, I did speak with Judith Howard, and she said that the whole thing was in a state of flux right now, and there wasn't anything definitive to work on.
Okay. Okay, so do you want to leave that tabled, or should we
Might as well
untable?
leave it on the, well, might as well leave it on the table
Okay,
when it settles itself out.
all right, good. All right. Very good, thank you. Why don't we we'll go around the table and do a member's minute here. It's now 8:06. So let's try to shoot to wrap it up and move on to other things at like 8:30 or 8:35. Brian Parmentier, would you like to kick it off?
Sure. I had mentioned earlier that we had gone to Ellis Pond on the dam side, and had walked through there, and it was a chilly day. We were we were grateful that we had our coats and hats and gloves there, but it was nice. It was clear. It was gorgeous. The clouds and the blue sky, and it's like, wow. And the geese were out there having fun. It was interesting to see them kind of huddle and come up to the edge. And then there was one that tried to get up on the ice and then I guess determined it was safe for the others. And then you saw how many followed. So that was an interesting kind of just a wildlife experience out there. But you know, I every time I get to the end of the trail there where you have to double back out to, I'm trying to think what street it is. I keep thinking, why doesn't this go all the way around? But that's just me. Well, me and a couple of people, I guess. But I do know that there's some issues there, but it would be nice someday. So, okay, that's the only thing I've had a chance to go out lately. So.
Okay, good, thanks. And something like that is, it's almost always better than watching cable, is to go out and watch the Canadian geese. So, Vic Babel, you want to weigh in?
Yeah. Actually, yesterday I went to a very nice place, the Bradley Estate in Canton. And it's about a mile of trails. It's wooded, it's hilly. It was very, very nice. And I wish I could have got a ticket for the Christmas celebration there, the lights, because they still have them up. And I went last year and it was beautiful, and it sold out too fast this year. But I'm glad you had. I wish I could have joined you on January 1st, but I was at my daughter's house in Richmond, Virginia, playing COVID down there, and I just had to get away from here for 3 weeks. And we did a lot of trails down there, and they have such wonderful trails down there. There was one, Pocahontas State Park, about an hour out of Richmond, and I can envision on University Avenue, the trails back in the woods there where they're steep going up and down, perfect BMX trails. And what they did, they have separate trails for BMX, and you can't walk on them and they can't drive on the trails. And most of the trails were, you know, a road wide. So there was quite a few people there, but not too bad. And so you could social distance very well. But all that whole Richmond area by the James River, it was beautiful down there. Oh my gosh, I love going down there just to walk the trails. That's it. You're muted, Joe.
Speak first, think later. Okay. Thanks, Vic. Marguerite?
I just did the same thing. A couple of things on the list. We had talked about a group walk on January 23rd or 24th. The 23rd is the date of the AMC Summit, which I just registered for. So the other thing is that you sent around, Joe, the Massachusetts 2021 Open Space Committee Conference registration. And it looks like, well, it's not clear from that document whether it's going to be in person or online. So it would be real helpful to be able to find out what is the story on that. And then the third thing, Brian, in response to the why doesn't the trail go all the way around? About 20 years ago, this was a big deal, and they were fighting over whether people would be allowed to go through that other property, since the town actually does own 10 feet back from the pond. And some legal maneuvering went on, and it was, quote unquote, it was decided that the landowners could block people from going through there, and of course they did. So it would be something, since it was taken care of at the town level and at the selectmen's level, it would be worth revisiting, I think, but you're going to have to do some bending a few people's ears to make it happen. That's it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I did remember hearing something to where there was even state funding to do it. And John Rogers ended up pulling the bill, if I remember correctly, because of the neighborhood opposition, but
Well, maybe in the interim, there'll be different neighbors.
Yeah.
It's worth investigating.
well, and even if it's not on the land, if somehow maybe we could bypass particular neighbors with something like a boardwalk, some sort of floating boardwalk. I don't know, but
The hazard there is immense.
is it too big a hazard? Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for the clarification.
It's on the list, though. Thank you. Thanks. Kate?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work, so I haven't had as much time to hike recently as I would like. But I did recently I'm trying to spend more time in Blue Hills. I've tried to do a few trail hikes recently around the area, and they're just not, a lot of them aren't suited for January, February, with all the flooding. I got out on a couple trails and not at Blue Hills, and it was just sheet of ice. There was no getting around, a foot or two of water, just a quarter mile down the trail. So I've been trying to spend more time in Blue Hills because there are great trail hiking opportunities year round. So I recently did the Skyline Trail where it goes across 138, or it goes across Route 28, and then there's a 138 piece there. And I just wanted to put a plug out there that it's really scary. So if you don't know that this exists, I originally was hiking Blue Hills, just the main portion of Blue Hills that's kind of all encapsulated. And then I recently realized there was a major roadway that runs right through and splits apart really beautiful sections. I had never been to the second side of Blue Hills across Route 28. So if you get the chance, I would really encourage you to get out of just the regular section of Blue Hills that everyone's hiking a lot and try to there are other places you can park closer. So looking into the Skyline Trail as it goes all the way through, some beautiful views on that other side. And I would recommend parking over there. I would not recommend sprinting across Route 28 like I did. It was easy the first time. Getting back took 20 minutes just across the road. So if you want to sign a petition trying to figure out a way to make that safer, I think a stoplight or some kind of pedestrian crossing is very much called for based on the 20 people I saw trying to cross the road the one Tuesday that I was out hiking. So there are a lot of people trying to get across there. And it's a shame because it's such beautiful space on the other side. And then yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
There
you
is-
go for it.
There is a traffic light. If you go heading for Chickatawba Hill, at the base of that, there's a traffic light that is very annoying if you're trying to drive through there. But yeah, I agree. I've hiked a lot of that area, and I'm sure you're familiar with the AMC guide to that thing. So it's possible, but yeah, you're right. You have to be careful. And then there's the whole Ponkapog side across 128 or whatever it is there.
Yeah, Route 28. I keep calling it 120, 128.
Well, actually, it does extend down to Route 28, so you're not that far off.
Yeah. And then my only other thing is to, whether you do give a presentation to PTAs or not, post on social media about the trails as much as you can so that young families who you are connected with or people in town who might want to be able to get outside during the particularly difficult time we're going to be entering of January, February, March with the pandemic, make sure that they know that the trails exist. And then I would encourage you to wear a mask when you go out on the trail. I have been on so many hikes, and I will say on some trails, everyone's wearing a mask, and it's just, I feel really safe. Other trails, people are trying to pull up their shirts. They're not staying away from each other or me when I'm trying to get by. And so just be courteous, wear a mask, take it off. But when you're near people, put it back on, So just putting that out there.
Okay, good. Duly noted. Let's see, who else? Craig Othman?
Like I said, build on the Blue Hills promotion. I walk Great Blue Hill every week up to the Meteorological Observatory, and take a view from the tower there, and it's always a gem to have that 360 view of the trees, and just seeing the different weather patterns that exist. Like last weekend, there was a storm that passed by us to the southeast, but you could still see the cloud banks along the coast, and you could see barely Wachusett. Actually, Wachusett wasn't bad. It was Monadnock you could just barely see. And that varies from week to week. Some days you can't even see beyond the hill because it's raining or foggy. So I always enjoy, I'm a volunteer there at Blue Hill Observatory. So I do echo, the sentiment about the trails there. They are all beautiful. Skyline Trail goes through there. Someday I'll take that route myself. I've done it in pieces, but not completely. That's it for me. Got nothing.
Hey, Joe, I'm back.
Hey, Roy, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Microsoft, Lovano, GoToMeeting, but due to technology, I am back.
Okay, good. Noted. Thank you. We missed you. Patty?
Yeah, so other than doing my morning walks around Norwood and Father Max and going out to the Ellis Pond, and depending on how much time I have been walking trails in Sharon with my pod. And there is a lovely little loop that has a dog park. It's near Lake Massapequa, and I can't think of what it is, the name of but it's got like an exercise loop with different equipment that the kids like to climb. They're not necessarily exercising, but that's okay. But it's a nice little trails in there, and there's a whole network of trails through Sharon other than Moose Hill that offer exploration if people are looking for just like the next town over.
Is Moose Hill fully opened again?
The trails are open, but the building is not.
Okay, all right. There is an area over there, I'm not all that familiar with it, but I think it abuts Moose Hill is called Rattlesnake Hill, that I've heard about as well.
I've heard about, I haven't hiked it.
It's actually a bit south. It's, I think, just west of Massapequa Pond. It's getting more toward Borderlands.
Yeah, but
Okay. The town of Sharon actually bought that Rattlesnake Hill, or at least a portion of it, with CPA money. So just food for thought in the future.
Another good one over in Sharon is if you know the way to Crescent Ridge Dairy, there's a little parking area pulled off to the side, and that's Man Pond, and there's a trail that circles the pond, goes around the other side of it and down back, and it's a great place if you just happen to need an ice cream to go there and sit in the parking lot, eat your ice cream, and then walk it off. Or vice versa, if you're being, diligent.
It's a good strategy. It's good. Okay, great. Thanks, Patty. Who else we have? Lee Leach.
I'm good. My minute's very short this week.
Okay, we'll take that 58 seconds and apply that to our next meeting. Thanks for coming, though. Mashamota?
Hey, Joe. Other than the local town walks that I take with the dogs every day, I also experienced Cutler Park, which I tried one other time. Joe had mentioned it to me. I tried it from one side, which I learned was the opposite side that you had gone on, Joe, or have normally gone on. So I went there this weekend, which enters from the Dedham side. Went there with myself and a couple other people and 7 dogs, and we enjoyed it because there was actually minimal walkers, and on the other side was very, very, very busy when I went. So this one was that we only passed, I think, 2 people the whole time, and we did see a very big train kill, I want to say. I think the deer we saw that had been come off the train track possibly, or something. But anyway, it was well eaten, so I felt good for nature. That every part of that being was pretty much, utilized. So that was it. But it was a nice hike. I can't say it's as pretty as the other side. The other side is much more groomed and beautiful. I also went to DW Field, and I love that hike, going from the side by Avon over by the Restaurant Depot, for those of you that know where that is. Great walk. And on the weekends, they shut the gates, so there's no cars. So it's very, very nice, beautiful, really pretty. And I think that's all. I always love Whitcomb Park, or Whitcomb Field. I'm not sure what you call it. Whitcomb what?
Whitcomb Woods.
There we go.
Yep.
Whitcomb Woods.
Yep. Yep.
Over in Dedham. That was a nice walk too.
Okay. All right, great. Very good. Thanks, Marcia. Okay, our homework assignment is to only walk in the town of Norwood for our next meeting. And 99.9% of our reports have just come back discussing trails from outside of Norwood. So that's your homework assignment. I'm going to, I was about to talk about the Blue Hills, but I won't do that because I just yelled at myself, so I won't. I will, the only things I'm going to just share the screen again. I just told myself I would not talk about Blue Hills, so I'm not going to talk about that screen. Although I did take a walk on a really nice trail on the opposite side of 138 on Little Blue Hill, which is behind that big commuter, not commuter rail, but commuter parking area. I wanted to talk about was the, give a plug, Marguerite mentioned the summit. You might, let me see. I'm going to unshare and share because you don't want to see Santa Claus talking to my grandkids. So, or maybe you do.
Well, the perspective there made it look like you had this giant screen TV in your living room until I realized it was the computer.
It's all smoke and mirrors. But thank you though. So I did circulate, and just for the public's information, Leah and Marguerite had both mentioned this before, but the Appalachian Mountain Club has an event. The good news is it happens in the town of Norwood at the 4 Points Hotel. It's an annual event. We'll be happy to circulate if you just Google Appalachian Mountain Club and Summit, Annual Summit 2021. It'll bring you to this page on the AMC site. There is a spot for registration, as Marguerite already found here in the register button. There's also a listing of workshops and presentations, meetings, which are more for, this is a national meeting of the AMC. So they bring in committee members from all up and down the East Coast. It's really impressive the way they do it. It does lose a little bit in the translation when you have to go virtual, as is the case. It'll be, as is noted here, let's see, Saturday, January 23rd, 2021, an all online digital event. Down here, it's got some bullet points, interactive workshops, and frankly, the workshops are very informative. I have not looked at the agenda this time around, but Marguerite forked over her $20, so there is something that's attracting Marguerite to attend. I know both Lee and I are looking at this. We have several of us have attended these in the past and very informative. And just as valuable are the networking opportunities, like contacts that you might walk out with. But I would highly recommend people at least looking at this. Again, it's the AMC Summit. Typically, it's held at the 4 Points on Route 1 Hotel. And we look forward to the time when it will be back at the 4 Points. I don't think I can probably find it, but one other recommendation, the AMC has, and I did circulate, I think, the whole newsletter. Several of us, I think, belong to the AMC as members. But the AMC comes out every month with a newsletter. And not surprisingly, this month's newsletter is about winter hiking and taking advantage of winter. The reports are that it is, in fact, winter. But things like how to have a scavenger hunt in the winter and how to, there is a strong emphasis on, we've talked about it here too, snowshoeing as a way to A, get to exercise, and B, just to get out into the open. But that event, the AMC Summit, comes in very highly recommended. What else? That's about it. I think I've hit everybody. Roy did not return. Roy's having technical issues, so we thank Roy for attending. I did also invite Steve Washburn from the Conservation Commission. Steve had joined us on several of our walks, and he did commit. If we do go walking on University Ave later on the month, then he will definitely join us for that. And speaking of that, upcoming events, we talked about February 6th or possibly February 7th, weather dependent and time to be determined, our Pets on the Trail walk. We have talked about January 23rd and January 24th as being our next walk in the woods for the committee, and it's open, obviously open to the community. With Marguerite's comment about the 23rd being the summit, are people available if we walk somewhere on the 24th, that Sunday?
I can do the 24th, but in later afternoon. I have something at 11 a.m. North of the city, so I would be back. I could probably do something around 2:30 or 3.
Okay. All right. I know sundown is around 4 to 4:15 these days. So, does anyone else? Are people available that afternoon on Sunday, the 24th?
I'm available, Joe.
Yeah, I should be available. It'd be almost 5 o'clock by that time, Joe, I bet. The sunset.
Oh, okay. Yep. Good point. Okay.
I could also probably make it 2. I'll just bring a snack with me on the trail.
Okay. A snack for all of us, or just a snack for yourself?
No, it's a snack for myself, and I'll eat far away from people. So.
And bring a
Sundown.
doggy bag.
Sundown is 4:49 that day.
4:49. Okay.
Sorry, sunset.
Sunset.
Okay. When it actually gets dark, it'll be later, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Good.
we've got till 10 to survive.
All right. So let's maybe we can split the difference, and we'll say I don't know. Can we do 2:30? Is that doable? Or 3 o'clock? Do you want to do? Let's do 3 o'clock.
I could do
Yeah.
2:30. Whatever's easier for folks. I don't want us to be out there in the dark. I hear there are coyotes.
There are coyotes all over town, unfortunately. Okay, and then the other question I think we talked about.
Is it 2:30 or 3?
3 o'clock. Okay.
If we do 2:30, the chances of it staying warm for longer part of the hike would be better, right? Because it's like warmer at 2:30.
It's never cold weather. It's just you don't.
Oh, well,
dress
I'm
right.
sorry. I forgot. In Norwood, it's never cold. So
It's never cold. You're just not dressing properly. That's all. Simple as that.
Yep. And that was a word from our sponsors. But you're right. Okay. So let's do. I'm sorry to flip flop. It's my fault. Let's do 2:30. Good point. Let's do 2:30 is good. 2:30. And
And the date again, Joe?
the date is January 24th at 2:30 PM. And we do want to do University Ave. Is everybody okay for University Ave?
Yeah.
We may have the potential, depending on how many people come, we may ask permission to park at either the skating club or that office building next door. If we only have a handful of people, we could park at the cutout at the famous hot dog stand cutout. More to follow, but as we approach that date, I'll try to take a head count. Right now, let's plan to meet at that cutout. It's roughly, it's beyond the skating club towards Granger and towards Westwood Station. It's on the right-hand
Right
side.
across the street from Home Depot Warehouse.
So, I'm sorry, say that again, Masha, just so everybody can hear.
It's directly across the street from the Home Depot Warehouse.
Okay, yep, the Home Depot warehouse. So, all right, good. Good. Case solved, January 24th, 2:30. Be there, University Ave. Okay. Anyone else have any comments, questions? Feedback other than the feedback? Good. Our next meeting, our next go-to-meeting meeting, our next go-to-meeting session is set up for Tuesday, February 9th at 7 PM. And with that, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Norwood community. We appreciate it. Thanks, Norwood Community Media, for hosting us. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
A motion to
thank you.
adjourn.
Masha,
Second.
you're, yep.
I'll
Kate?
second.
Kate, Masha, thank you. All those in favor? I'm going to go
Aye.
around the loop.
Aye.
Go around the loop. I heard Marguerite. Thank you,
Aye.
Vic. Thank you,
Aye.
Brian. Great, Patty, Kate. Thanks. Good.
Aye.
Perfect.
Good seeing you guys all again.
Yeah.
Hey, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.